Hi everyone, and welcome to TWF Power or Might. I, Jonathan Coachman, here with Mike today and with Wade Barrett. And today on Power and Might, we're going to have Santa Claus, Father Yule, here today on Power and Might. Mike, Jonathan Coachman says, we almost forgot about doing this show today. Well, luckily we didn't forget about doing this show today. We just chose to do it later than we would have done. Mike today says, but we did not forget about doing the show. And we got Father Yule here because, Yule's going to come up soon. So, he's coming up soon. Ho, 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 and happy Yule. It is I, Santa Claus, also known as Father Yule. And I also want to let everybody know that, yes, it's true that we're not at Yule yet. That's on its way. But the 11th month starts to become one of the first busiest months for me, because I got to start looking through gift lists. Then I got to go and buy those gifts, because keep in mind all the gifts that folks ask for these days, well, my workers and myself, we don't know how to make them, So a lot of things folks ask for are things that these days we have to buy. And it's not cheap, let me tell you that. But it's not about the gift giving. It's about making folks happy. And it's about showing the same love and kindness and even the same forgiveness that Jesus himself showed to all mankind and womankind. You see, the grounds to why I put gifts, why I work so hard to keep the happiness and glee of Jesus' birthday Yule alive, is that God so loved the world and forgave the world for its so many sins. God thought mankind and womankind were worthy enough to have a gift, and that gift was his son Jesus, who was the only man who ever lived a true, flawless, sinless life. The only man ever healed the sick, the wounded, and the handicapped. The only man he also was a teacher, because he did teach folks how to be kinder, how to forgive. He also was a healer, because he did heal the sick, the wounded, and the handicapped. He did. And he was a freer, because he freed mankind and womankind from their sins. God is righteousness, meaning God is all holy or all good. So God does not like sin, but God only hates the sin, but not the sinner. But our sins made us dirty in the eyes of God. So he couldn't let us into heaven due to those sins that we did, the ones that we knew we were doing and the ones we had no thought that we were doing. But through God and through Jesus, those sins were atoned for. They were cleaned away. So now, even though we are still sinful, God and Jesus let us into heaven. And my clothing also speaks of that tale itself. You see, when we came on this earth, our souls were white, we were sinless. But sadly, we learned what sin was and how to sadly give in to sin, and our hearts became black. But you see, the blood on my shirt, through the blood of Jesus, washed those sins away from us and left us as clean as we were when God first made us. So when the time comes, we can walk on the streets of gold. And that's what the golden on my belt, on my strap right there means. And when I say the streets of gold, we're talking about heaven. Yeah, we're talking about the streets of gold. We're talking about heaven. So that's my word. And I put those gifts underneath the Yule tree. You know, to unlook Jesus for being the unlooking God, for giving Jesus to us as a gift. To prolong that gift giving that the wise men did and the shepherds did when they met Jesus. And so that's my word for today. I want to wish you all a happy Yule, but also wish everyone a happy gathering of lights and a happy gathering of followership. So, Jonathan Coachman says, you have any words to say about, any words that you want to say about that? Mike today says, well, Jonathan Coachman said he said it as many ways that anyone could say it. You know, and it was probably one of those times that no one ever showed up, or, you know, Shane did Father, you know, showed up, you know, that showed up to do any, you know, no one ever showed up to do anything bad to Father Yule, which is a good thing. What's going on here? Uh-oh, you spoke too soon. You spoke too soon, Jonathan, Coachman, and Mike today, because we got Brock Lesnar in the ring. So you spoke too soon. You think I wasn't going to let you go? Yeah, I thought you were going to let me go. Well, first off, Brock Lesnar says, you're owing me a gift. What gift is that, Brock? If you're speaking about, you know that gift. What? I want another shot at the TWF heavyweight winnings. I'm sorry, Brock, I don't have that sleigh. I can't go around and say, here, Brock, you get another shot for the TWF heavyweight winnings. I'm sorry. Well, then me and you going to have a bind, you know, because me and you are going to have a bind then. Well, then me and you are going to have a bind then. Then me and you are going to have a bind then, Father Yule, and it's not going to end well. Hold it. Hold it, Brock. Before you do anything about beating up on Father Yule, we need to talk about the whole Team Diva Talks fights Team Astronomer. And we do know that Brock Lesnar is going to be on this Diva Talks team along with Becky Lynch, along with Blaine, along with who else is it going to be on the team? Oh, I want to say that other creep. But just make scene that whoever else is steaded on our team, you know, is going to be the Astronomer's team. And we do know that will happen. So, Brock, you could do whatever you want to do to Father Yule. Oh, hold it right there, Bobby Lashley says. This is what you want to do, Montel Vertadius Porter says. You want to bully Father Yule. How sad. Yeah, Bobby Lashley says. And somehow, Brock, you somehow got everybody thinking you were the greatest wrestler who ever lived. Yeah, just like you make everybody think, Paulie Dangerously, that you're the greatest overseer to ever lived. And if you're being on Team Diva Talks, which really just has losers like Brock Lesnar, Becky Lynch, Blaine, and Aries, then I guess we're going to be on the winning team with Cody Rhodes and you know and Shrek and Harry Potter and Becky Lynch. Then this has nothing to do with you, Bobby Lashley, or you, Montel Rotadius Porter. I think it does, Bobby Lashley says, because no one's going to beat up Father Yule, not on my watch. You see, Brock, you might not give a shit about how hard folks work to make Yule happy for their children. You got kids, Brock, so you should know how it is. I work all year to make sure my children have a good Yule and put those smiles on their ears. Not going to have you beat up Father Yule. That's not happening. Well, we'll see who gets beat up, because me and you, Bobby, are going to meet tomorrow, Brock Lesnar says. And Montel, we'll see who said they're the world's greatest overseer. Well, who would have thought it? Who would have thought, Jonathan Coachman says. I mean, who would have believed that Montel Vertadius Porter and Bobby Lashley would come to help Father Yule out? I mean, who would have thought that? I want to say thank you, Montel. Thank you, Bobby, for helping me. You're welcome, Father Yule. Anytime. Who would have thought they would have helped him out, Jonathan Coachman says. I mean, who would have thought that Bobby Lashley would have shifted Baby Lear? Who would have thought that? But I guess it just goes to show that you don't know folks, and folks can shift, Jonathan Coachman says. Yeah, I guess they can, Mike today says. They had shifted. We saw it happen right before our eyes. You know what? Wade Barrett says, I held off all that time, and now I'm going to say something. Bobby Lashley and Montel Vertadius Porter had no business being in Brock Lesnar and Paulie Dangerously's business. And now Bobby Lashley is going to learn, if you put your nose in Brock Lesnar's business, bad things happen. Well, we'll have to see about all those bad things happening, as you call it, Jonathan Coachman says. Because now we're going to hear it from Sarah Shiver now. Is going to be talking with Bobby Lashley and Montel Vertadius Porter. Well, Mike today says, hopefully this up! And hopefully everything goes good. Montel Vertadius Porter. Mike today says, thank you, Jonathan Coachman and Mike today. I'm going to be talking with Bobby Lashley and Montel Vertadius Porter here today on Powerrr Mike. Alright, Bobby Lashley, we didn't think we were struck that you and Montel Vertadius Porter would stand up for Father Yule. Well, first off, Bobby Lashley says, I made some mistakes myself. I became a bully. I started doing all those things that Brock Lesnar started doing. Hell, I was doing it in TNA in my 2-week run in TNA when Brock Lesnar started his shit in his 2-week run in WWE. And it's true that I did have my matches with Brock Lesnar, but it came in 2020 and 2021 while, and going in 2022 while when I had them. But I'm not going to be that way anymore. I was not going to have Brock Lesnar beat up Father Yule. And I was going to have Paulie Dangerously behave as if it was the greatest thing that he ever saw any of his buyers ever do. Yeah, Paulie Dangerously's got the whole world believing that he's the world's greatest overseer. Well, that's not true. In my 2-week run in WWE that started in 2020 YL and ended in 2025 YL, I was 2-week as the greatest overseer because I, under Bobby Lashley in my watch, became a 2-time WWE heavyweight fighter. He even beat Brock Lesnar once. And some folks are going to say, oh, because Roman Reigns and Paulie Dangerously helped, whatever. But he beat him, you know. And it's true that Bobby Lashley's 2-week run in WWE didn't end the way that he quite wanted it to go. But I'm not going to be 2-week. And me and Bobby Lashley have already put ourselves on Team Astronema, and we're going to bring down Team Diva Talks. And if Brock Lesnar wants to go to war with the almighty Bobby Lashley tomorrow over helping Father Yule, well, we'll be ready for him. All right, that's my talk with Montel Vertadius Porter. And, Bobby Lashley. Shit. Oh, man. Back to you, Jonathan Coachman and Mike today. Thank you, Sarah Shiver, for talking with Bobby Lashley and Montel Vertadius Porter here today on Powerrr Mike. And that's all the time we got here for Powerrr Mike. I, Jonathan Coachman, with Mike today and with Wade Barrett, we hope you like Powerrr Mike, and we'll see you tomorrow for Monday Night Raw or Monday Night Raw.